I'm asking on stage Mindaugas Šestilo, Head of HR Telia Global Services Lithuania.
Hello, good
Welcome.
morning. Hello, good morning, guys. If we look in the past years, they were very challenging years for us for HR. All our competences, skills, knowledge, how to do the HR processes well, like recruitment, onboarding, learning and development, motivating employees, has gone, and we're challenged. We lost an opportunity to grab a cup of coffee, to walk in the office, and to understand how the organization is living. Suddenly, within one day, we had to move from full office to fully virtual life. So today, I would like to share how we, 900 employees organization, changed and adapted all the main HR processes in order to address this new normal, how we made them lean and virtual, and most important, with those processes, how to keep employees within the organization's gravity. If you look in the past years, of course, the COVID, it was challenging for all of us. It affected our lives, but at the same time, it gave us opportunities as for HR. So first of all, we started recruiting anywhere in Lithuania. As before, we were recruiting only in the city or in the place where our offices were, but we realized we can hire everywhere, so we broadened our pool that we are getting our talents. We did digitalization overnight. We started signing job contracts from the physical signature to virtual signature and other HR processes. Employees started thinking about the stability as one of the key things when they were choosing the organizations. If before, we as a technology organization were always fighting with the startup small organizations, but when the COVID came, employees realized that the huge companies, this is the place, safe place to be, because we are not exiting employees, we are not reducing their work, we are not closing as the organization. Corporate gaps between the offices in the other countries also came closer. Myself, I used to travel every week or every other week to Sweden to meet my colleagues, and when you go to the office in Sweden, no matter what, even you spend an entire day in the office, you realize that so many things are happening throughout the week while drinking coffee, while going to the kitchen, and so on. Today, what happened? We are connecting at the same time, and we have exactly the same amount of time. So it doesn't matter, you sit in Lithuania or Sweden, we are exactly in the same communication level. And also, we started competing with the global organizations. We implemented vocation processes and other processes that I will mention a bit later. But at the same time, they brought us challenges. As I mentioned, we lost a sense of belonging and opportunity to see how our employees are living. Employees' location became everywhere in the country. They were working from the seaside. They were working at home. Their home became office, and at the same office became home. They lost the borders in between. Role of leadership, that was very important for all of us, because we realized that the leaders, the team leads, they are the ones who are dragging organization forward. And if we will not work with them, if we will not start discussing how them feel themselves, it will be very difficult for them to lead their teams. We also saw a lot of burnt out employees. Because at the beginning, employees were saying, I'm so productive at home, I don't need to commute, I'm doing so much, I'm achieving so much. But after the half of the year, they said, I'm working really too much, because they don't know when they're finishing, they don't know when they are starting, they started mixing their families. And as I mentioned, suddenly from the full work in the office, where we were really meeting colleagues, we went to the virtual life that also brought us different challenges. So now I will talk about the 5 proofs or 5 processes that we adopted for that in order to make sure that we are embracing this new normal. So when you look at the recruitment process, we realize that we need to be very efficient and lean if we want to start the hiring and be efficient in the hiring. If before the process of the hiring was that, you call the candidate, then you arrange the time, then the candidate comes to the office, then you have the first interview, then you arrange the second interview, so it might happen with like 2 to 5 weeks. Now, from the moment you call the candidate till the moment you have the interview, it might be minutes or hours. So at the same time, if the candidate is talking with us, while finishing interview with us, right away he can start talking to another company. So we said we need to make this process very lean, meaning that it should be maximum 2 interviews, or at most 3, and the process has to be within the week. Otherwise, we will be losing potential talents, and we changed that one. Also, candidates starting changing their works while just sitting in the room, but changing colleagues in the screen. And for them, it's a world of unknown. Of course, they had lots of fears. So we said to our managers, so if you are doing the recruitment, try to keep the contact in between, try to show as much as possible how we as an organization living and what kind of values we are having, that we are really caring of the candidates and employees. So this connection had to be always maintained till the moment that employee signs the contract and comes into the organization. All the standard processes became virtual for us. Virtual job interview, virtual onboarding, virtual job contract signing. It happened so that we saw our new employees physically only after 8 months from the moment we hired and started working fully in virtual. And also what is for us is very important in this changing those processes is feedback and adaptation, the feedback into the process itself. We always have this question when employee joins the organization. We always have this coffee with HR, we call it, and I have always one question to ask. What we need to do better so that the next candidate and the next employee that will be coming after you will have even better experience that you had. So we take this feedback, we integrate in the process, and what happens that this process always becomes better and better. That's why the feedback we are receiving from all our candidates and new joiners, they're saying that, guys, what you're doing, that's amazing, and the rating is always above 9. Onboarding. So when we have the recruitment, then another process is onboarding. Because to change the job for employees, no matter how you look at it, it's a stress. Positive or negative, but it's a stress because the employee is leaving the comfortable environment, the people he or she knew before, and suddenly joining the organization while sitting in the same room, but just changing the colleagues. So the way we did, we said, okay, we have to look how this employee feels in every stage. So in the first day, we have these virtual buddies, or buddies. Now we came back to the work to send me to the office, so we have the buddies. Every new joiner who joins our organization, and we have on average 30 to 40 new joiners every month, has a buddy who assigned to the new joiner. This is a group of employees who want to be the volunteers who want to do the onboarding with all the new joiners. They have a special program. So then this new buddy meets the person in the first day and walks through the day. Also, how the first day looks like. We said that our first day shouldn't start earlier than 10 o'clock. The best would be that 11 o'clock. That employee wakes up in the normal pace, finds the office, or fixes all his personal stuff. Then he has a person who already meets him or greets virtually or physically. Then introduces to the organization, shows where the kitchen, where he will be sitting. All the equipment should be already on the first day, and that day should finish at around 2 or 3 p.m. Because we don't want employee to be hectic on the first day. So what happens? He comes back home and says, you see, in Telia, somehow they invited me at 11 o'clock, and they asked me to go at 3 o'clock. And again, this is how we are saying we're really caring about the employees, because we want them to feel great. So they kind of become already ambassadors from the first day. Then another one already employee joins how the onboarding module starts. As I mentioned, we are hiring 30 to 40 new employees every month. We are not doing that some of the companies are still doing. When they collect all the new joiners from the last quarter, invite 100 employees in the stage, in the room, then CEO comes, gives a greeting speech, then the HR comes and also gives a speech, and then we are saying, okay, we did the onboarding. Our goal, despite the fact that we have 900 employees, to show that everyone is really important in this organization. So we form the groups of 11 to 15 maximum employees, and we go through the onboarding, this process. Every week we have this coffee with HR, meeting CEO, meeting business representatives, and what happens is that there is already communication and really getting to know each other. and they don't get lost in this huge organization. And another one is very important again, pulse and evaluation. How do they feel in this process? After 2 weeks, there is a survey asking, how do you feel? What was good? What do you want to change? After 6 weeks, there is another survey. And again, the goal for it, to take the feedback and to integrate into the process so that this process becomes way better and better every time the new joiner comes. So the evaluation we're always receiving is 9.1 out of 10. So of course, there is still a room, but this is already a good result. What that means for the business, first of all. For the business means that we don't have any exits within the 3 months. Employees, they really feel grateful about the organization, they enjoy the organization, and for the business, this new joiner can start working and delivering way faster if you don't have this kind of process. So that's what was about the onboarding. Another one is very important stuff that was mentioned already, employee engagement and pulse measurement. We as a HR used to do before that, if you want to capture how your organization lives, so usually what we did before, we were sending the survey once a year or twice a year, then the entire company fills the survey, then it takes some time to process, and then after 3 months you have the results. So when you look at it, from the moment you have the results, you see that how organization was living 6 or 7 months ago. That's already outdated because the life is changing way faster. What we did through the pandemic, and we are continuing doing, we started doing the pulse survey every week or every second week. 3 questions. There could be very random questions that, depending on the situation. When we start working from home, we were asking, how is your working from home condition? Can we do something about it? How is your workload? And so on. And we were asking different questions. And in order for employees to be engaged in filling those surveys, they need to see the results. So if there was yesterday's pulse survey, today there is already a result. Tomorrow will be the message saying, okay, we asked you, we did this one. And one of the examples was that through the pandemic, they were saying that if we are working from home, why we can't work somewhere from the warm country like Spain, Mallorca, or Greece, or whatsoever? And we realized, yeah, actually, if they have the internet connection, why not to give this as the vacation process? What we did, we implemented vacation process that we allowing our employees to work anywhere from the European Union up to 1 month per year. So it was a big boom into the market because then suddenly other companies realized, look, Telia is doing a great thing. For the employees in the market, they were saying, oh, Telia, this is the place to be because they're always doing the smart things and always ahead of the competition. And also it changed the market because employees came back to their HR and CEO saying, look, if Telia is doing, why we can't do that one? But what was most important thing in this, that employees realized that if we are saying something, organization listen to us and really implements that one. So all those small surveys leads to that, that we have every week, every 2 weeks, different surveys, adapting and checking the organization's pulse. And for us, it gives us the real picture of the organization, and the same for the employees, it's kind of engagement. Another one from the employees' engagement perspective was for us to show that if you're joining the organization which has 900 employees, but your word still matters, you can really change the way we are working, the way we are living. We're always saying we spend our 8 to 9 best hours of the day in the office or in the organization. So it would be not smart not to adapt and change the day looks like, because we can't 100% just do the work we were hiring. 20% should go somewhere else. So we said, okay, guys, bring any ideas, and especially at the beginning, because we were established 4 years ago. So the way we started building the culture, we said, if you have any idea, this is the venue. We have meetings every month on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. in the room 303. So that they knew that 333 should be somewhere there. So they're coming and saying, we would like to play volleyball. We said, okay, take the budget, form the team, do it. Then they were saying, actually, we would like to go out once a month as the entire organization. Can you have a budget first for that one? We said, okay, find the pub, find the bar. We will give you budget for the snacks. Drinks is on you, but snacks with you. Okay, collaboration. Another one they're saying, can we invite guest speakers on the different topics that might be relevant? If it's about the COVID now, so maybe about the virus. If it's, our sleep is disturbed, can we talk about the sleep? We said, okay, take the budget, do it. So at the beginning, we were giving all the budget to all random ideas, so they were really crazy ideas and so on. We had the pet Fridays and snacks in the office, ice cream in the office, and still we have this ice creams in the office. But at some point we said as the management, okay, now we need to streamline those ideas because we can't just give the budget for everything. So we said, okay, so what is our strategy in the organization? So first of all, is making the impact to the society. Okay, so all the ideas should be kind of impact to the society. Another one about the development. So all the ideas that supports the development, personal and professional growth, we can also support. Then how we celebrate, how we engage, how we do the other fun activities in the office, we can also support. And if there another one is promoting healthy lifestyle. So if those ideas match those, we are giving this budget. Then of course, then it became already that they had to plan the budget, all the different stream leads, then they present this, they had to approve. But from the full ideas, we suddenly came to the regular ideas, but please know that I can really impact this organization and make a change. So constant dialogue, listening to them, and always saying in the town halls, guys, you said, we did it. So then they created the culture that employees, I'm 1 out of 900, but still I know that I can make an impact. And another is very important thing for us, we realize that new joiners who are coming into the organization, they're having very great ideas, and they're always saying, okay, maybe we can do this and that. So we said, okay, let's have once in a quarter, the meeting where we invite all the new joiners, because after 3 months they already know how this organization is living, but they also still are fresh with the ideas, and we're capturing those ideas from them from different companies, and they really become into the life. And of course, further you go, you realize that you're doing so much and not so much other companies are doing, or other companies start already copying what you are doing, but still this is how to show that we really listen and we want to hear about that one. Another process that we change is leadership. Through the pandemic, and if you look at the HR again, we used to do also the same. The way we're looking at our leaders, whenever we are planning the training budget, we're always saying, we need to give the competence and skills how for them to be successful leading their teams and coaching and so that they will be able to coach, to mentor, to give the feedback for their employees. In the pandemic, we understood that they are also human beings. They also have exactly the same questions and the same fears. So we put aside their teams and we first of all started working with them. Every 2 weeks we started gathering and discussing about different topics that that the fears they have, how they're feeling, how this impacting themselves, because only then when they already can share among the leaders their fears and discuss them, they can go to the teams and be successful dealing with this uncertainty as well. And what happened that out of this, we created the Leaders Club, that every month now we have a gathering of 2 hours of all the team leads in the organization, and we bring different topics. So for example, if it's a salary review process or annual appraisal process, so we discuss about this one. We don't have any speakers, but we are saying, okay, let's share our best case practices. So they're building the network around themselves and also at the same time gaining new skills and knowledges and experience from other colleagues. So we created this leader club, and this is still active, and this is very successful, and we continue doing this one. Also, another very important layer, middle management, and those who became new people managers from the organization or those who came outside of the organization. We realized that we grow a lot of people from the inside, and when they come as the manager, there is a gap of the competence and skills. So we created middle management program about that. They were talking first of all about themselves, about the organization, about the commercial part, and also so that providing skills and competence how for them to be successful leading teams. And we are running them every half a year. So because as we are having quite a number of new managers who are joining the organization. And of course, external coaches and external speakers, and especially through the pandemic, if you want to give the seminar and conference, so everyone used to into the live conference, so now we can hire someone from Dubai that who is a very smart trainer and can deliver us the coaching and other trainings for all our managers. And the last process that we change is offboarding, because we always talk about the onboarding, about the recruitment, about learning and development, but we always forgetting about the offboarding process. And especially if you look at the market like Lithuania or Latvia, it's a very small market. Employees start mingling in between, and if someone exited your organization today, might come back next year. And if you will not do offboarding process properly, you will not have them coming back. So first of all, we said that our goal is to turn all the leavers into the ambassadors of the organization. And the way we did it, we have a rule that if someone says that I'm leaving the organization, to have the physical interview with the person within the 5 days, we find out that person is leaving the organization. Because 5 days, this is time where you can change decision of the person. And usually you see that the reason why, because he was applying for somewhere, he didn't get the role, or maybe the salary was not properly aligned and manager maybe forgot to align this salary. So within those 5 days, you can make this change. And I would say at around 10%, we are still managing to retain while fixing those small things. If you start having the interview on the last day, as some of the companies are doing, that's already too late, because the person already signed the contract in the new organization. Most probably he started already mingling or connecting to the new team, and that's already what time you are losing your employee. So when the employee is leaving, we are saying, okay, no matter what, you made a decision to leave, okay, we will see what we can do so that we will not have the leaving employees more in the future. But we are saying that we are representing the alumni community, and every quarter there is an interaction, virtual or physical. So one quarter we have a newsletter sending how the organization is living, and next quarter we have the physical meeting where we're inviting all our leavers and sharing over the cup of coffee how we are living and so on. What happens? They become ambassadors of the organization, because whenever someone asks them, "Oh, you worked in Telia, so how was it?" And this connection makes them really be proud of this organization. And also at the same time, we are already seeing, not so much though yet, but we are expecting that those people after some time will come back to the organization. So that's why offboarding process is quite important for us. So what's next? What's gonna happen after this pandemic? Because COVID will disappear, or will not be impacting our lives anymore. But what will stay? Hybrid teams. That's what we realized. If before the COVID, organization were allowing employees to work from home and people were working, but there was always one thing that, whenever someone says I'm working from home, they're always saying that, I'm working tomorrow from home because I have someone appointment, because someone is coming to the house, because maybe my kid is not going to school and so on. Today, it's became pretty normal. I'm working from home, and no one is saying why. Just because they really got used to this, and we realized we will be always having these hybrid teams. Because when you discuss with our employees, some of them they're saying, I want to be working from home. Some of them, I want to come to the office. But whenever we do the survey, this ratio is 2 to 3 days. Either 2 days in the office or 3 days at home, or vice versa. But that's how it's gonna be, and that's what this pandemic leave to us. The change of the office meaning. If before the pandemic, if I was going to the office, for me it was very clear. This is my work. Now today my work at home is my work. In this conference, I will have a meeting, so I will go into the corner. That's my work already. And office meaning will become will be the social anchor. Employees will be coming to the office most probably when they want to connect to the organization, when they want to participate in one or another training, or want to meet their colleagues. But most probably when they want to focus on their projects, on the processes. Those who have opportunities and abilities to work from home and accept normal conditions, they will be working from home already. Emotional well-being. Before pandemic, psychological health was somewhere on the agenda, but not so much. During pandemic, we realized that this is a very normal topic, and we really need to discuss about that one. Because when the first months of the pandemic came, we didn't know how it's gonna be. We had 50 cases in Lithuania, so everyone was locked in the house. We were not going for Easter, for Christmas. We were so scared, we didn't know how it's gonna happen. And at the same time, it started impacting the psychological health. And we still see people who coming back from the working from home fully, especially those older generation, they really having problems. And now we started putting into the budget psychological consultations, or bringing the psychologists to talk about this mental health. And this became a normal topic that we already started discussing. That's what's gonna live in us for the future. But at the same time, we will have the battles with the global organizations. If employee wants to work, to live in Lithuania, or let's say in Latvia, so he would never choose some organization somewhere in UK, US, or whatsoever. Today, when the world shifted into semi-virtual, fully virtual, doesn't matter. You can live in Lithuania, you can live in Latvia, but you can work from the global organizations. So we have to be even smarter, faster, making this all the social anchors so that we will have to compete with this global organization. Because for him, for he or for her, how or she, it doesn't matter. The colleagues in the scheme might be from Lithuania or from somewhere else. And organizational society. So through the pandemic, we introduced our colleagues to all our family members in the screen, to kids, to dogs, to pets, and so on. We became closer because we started to talking more, not only about the work, but also about the personal life. So this is becoming more as a society. But no matter what pandemic is brought us or will leave to us, this was already mentioned by Yanis today, but there are core principles unchallenged by the pandemic. So first of all is psychological and physical safety at work. If we want to keep employees within the company's gravity, employee coming to the organization, he or she needs to feel safe. She needs to know that no matter what, he will retain his job, or if the company will really go into the bad times, he or she will be treated properly. Recognition and job content, it was already mentioned, and that's really important. What kind of job is doing and how we are recognizing all our employees. Socialization, social ties, belongings, no matter what, if employees were working at home, but they still need this connection. They still need to want to be part of the group, of the tribe, whatsoever how you call it. And if we as the organizations will be managing to create environment where they can connect to different groups, to different colleagues, employees, and so on, most likely they will not leave as organization compared to those who are really working virtually and they don't have any connection in between. And of course, empowerment to make a change, to be empowered, to make a change in the organization, balance, work-life balance, harmony, and ability to grow. That's all the core principles. If those will be in place, we will not be discussing about that we are competing with a global organization, because employees, they will want to work in our organization. So that's what I wanted today to share about our experience shaping and changing the organization's culture, and now it's a perfect time for questions.
Thank you, Mindaugas. If you have any questions, raise your hand, and I will try to see you in the audience. We have a question over there. Can we share the microphone?
Thank
Please.
you. Maybe you could share how this onboarding is going on with this buddy system now in this remote work time in your company. How does it happen online or through MS Teams or so? Thanks.
Thank you. Now in Lithuania situation, the way that we were asked fully to work remotely, now we said that okay, we can already come back to the office. So it's already blended, but no matter what, when we even working there remotely, the way onboarding process looked like, that on the first day, as we are based in Vilnius, and most probably all our employees majority they were in Vilnius. So our IT guys were preparing all the PCs and all the equipment. They were putting into the taxi, into the Bolt, and within the half an hour, already the equipment reaches the employees. Then at 11 o'clock, there is already the first call where the virtual buddy greets the employee virtually. So the live answered the question. It was a full virtual onboarding. Now, when we have an opportunity to come back to the office, we are saying that at least for the first month, we would like to see all our new joiners in the office as much as possible, so that they will have the connection and they would really see how the office looks like and so on. And talking about those buddies, so what is very important, it's not the buddy someone from the same function, it's the volunteers. Of course, they're being motivated, and motivation is always food and jumper. So if they onboard 10 employees, they get the jumper saying I'm the buddy, and then once in a while they get Volt vouchers to food. I don't know why, but for the IT, the biggest currency is the food. So they have the special program. They're also being motivated, and what's very, very important that Janis mentioned, recognize. Whenever we have the town hall, we're always recognizing those buddies, saying that this is amazing guy who he did like 10 onboarding processes for all our organization. Hope that answered the question.
Do we have another question? Not at the moment, but we have a question to you. You mentioned that a lot of things in your presentation requires time to build this structure, to build this buddy system. Well, if a company wants to start learning your experience, like what would be the first thing they need to spend time on working?
I think the first thing we need to agree, so the vision of the organization. Because we said that we want our vision from the HR perspective to be best employer for our employees. Not the one when we have this election or survey, then we're not asking, please vote for us. But when you ask your employee, what is it the best company to work? They say, yes, that's the best company to work. So the principle, first of all, agreeing that, okay, that's what we want to do. And then, of course, zoom out into the HR process and look how we can make them efficient. We were lucky because we were building the shared service center from the beginning. So right away, we're putting those processes in the place. So recruitment and onboarding, I would say the first stages where you have to make it right, because from that perspective, you are putting the employee on the right track. If you are not doing the proper onboarding, you can't expect quality in other processes and from the employee itself. So I would say recruitment, streamline the recruitment, and then to build a proper onboarding process.
Super, thank you. Thank you, Mindaugas.
Thank you very much.
So far today, we have already heard about all the information and all the data about
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Can we get my presentation, please? Perfect. Yep. Thanks. Once again, my name is Alexander Snornitsyn. I'm CEO at A Group, and today I'd like to talk to you about complexity in general and what does it mean when it comes to HR system implementation. We at A Group deal with probably the biggest employers in Baltics and Poland, and it's a special pleasure for me to talk right after one of our customers, Telia, the employer of choice. So I'd like to share some observations based on dozens and dozens of projects we did for a company like Telia when it comes to digitalization of your HR processes. So first of all, what's wrong with complexity? Why complexity is bad? We every day use very complex technologies, very complex tools, and it's became a part of our life. But in reality, if you think a bit about complexity from the company perspective, you will understand that, first of all, complexity leads to higher cost of ownership. And by ownership, cost of ownership, I mean not only the purchase of the system and not only implementation of the system, it's also further support of the system, making the changes, because our life is always changing. Secondly, complexity is complex. It's less agile, and because it's very difficult to change anything in a complex system due to a lot of relations between different parties of the system. And as a result, it's becoming more and more fragile when it comes to changes. Again, our life is not something that's written in stone, it's changing every day. So if it's less agile, then it's more fragile. It's also typically less transparent because very few people can understand the system in whole, all the dependencies, and due to this fact, it's less transparent and less trusty. And which is probably even more important, it tends to spread. By that I mean, if you implemented something complex, it's very difficult to make a next step and make it simple. If you did one thing is complex, then the next one will be even more complex typically. We can probably split all these complexity drivers in two parts. The first one is more natural, the second one is more artificial. And by natural, I mean something we got as a given and which we have very few ways to change, very few ways to influence. And first of all, it's legislation. We all know that legislation around HR, around people management is quite complex, especially when you're a sizable organization, especially when you operate in different countries where you have different legislations. We have some rules in Lithuania, some rules in Estonia, some rules in Poland, different story in Latvia. So legislation, and it's always changing. Another part is business legacy. So our company can have a different lines of business, different geographies, different strategies, and again, we as HRs can do little about that probably. And last but not the least is competition. Our competitors always introduce new product, new services to the market, and that force us to reflect and do something similar, even better, that also increase complexity. But same time, beside of these natural drivers, we tend to create unnatural drivers by ourselves. First of all, from our experience, we see it probably in each and every project we do. It's overcomplicated business processes. I will give you just one simple example. Try to remember how the process of application for vacation works in your company. Can you actually put it on paper? How many cases you have? Who should approve it? Your line manager, your HR director? And is it exactly the same in your division and the next division? In next shop, in next factory? And is it the same in another country where your company operates? So such a simple thing like application for vacation becomes crazy complex. And it's not because it's really necessary, it's because we designed that like that. Another quite typical story we see in the majority of the project is exaggerated organizational structure. So many different departments, so many different reporting clients, so many of everything. So it's becoming more and more unmanageable with the size of organization. And next one is one of my favorite one, fragmented IT systems. So nowadays we always tend to implement quickly all these best of the breed systems, which is nice looking and easy to implement on mobile and all the stuff like employee recognition, like some tools for online recruitment, background checks, whatever. I don't say that it's bad, but before you go for that, you typically forget about the general picture, how the general IT landscape should look like in your company, and due to this fragmentation, you create unnecessary interfaces, unnecessary complexity again. One more driver I want to focus here is a little bit tricky one, and nobody wants to talk about that, but again, we see it mostly in each and every organization. This cost of optimization. And by that I mean we always tend to save a little bit of money, not breaking the rules, not breaking the laws for sure, but there are some freedom, how we can optimize taxes, how we can pay a little bit less overtimes for employees, how we can squeeze in all these regulations and save money for our organization. That's all good, but very few people, very few organizations think about complexity which comes with this optimization schema. What does it mean for you to support this schema? How much agility you lose because of that, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so what can we do with all this stuff? Complexity, different drivers, et cetera, et cetera. Typically, again, it's exactly digitalization projects which works as a driver for simplicity and unification. But the best companies without this tends to create it as a part of the corporate culture. So it's not about only one project you start today or will start tomorrow. It should be like a part of your DNA. Whatever you do, you should always think, if I can do it in a more simple way, can we unify it across different locations, different business units, different everything, different business lines? And only after that, when you simplify it as much as possible and unify it as much as possible, it really makes sense to go digital and implement any solution in whatever areas you want, in a new payroll system, new time and attendance system, new performance evaluation, whatever. Because if you automate mass, you'll get automated mass and nothing more. So this principle, I personally believe it should be not only part of our business lives, but lives in general. So keep it simple. Keep it simple as much as possible. Don't overcomplicate. Everything around you will push you to complicate. So you have to play against that. Yep. So, yeah, to make it short, the first part of this exercise, simplicity, as I said, whatever you do, try to think if you can simplify it. Try to make clear zones of responsibility, clarify reporting lines, and all these stories. And there are several good questions to ask yourself each time when you design a business process, when you design a new part of organizational structure. Is it really necessary? Can we live without that? Or can we make it simpler? And actually, can we afford it right now? Because it's not only about, again, buying the system, it's about supporting the system, it's about changing the business process, it's about investing your time and time of your colleagues in that. So maybe it makes sense to keep the status quo right now and change nothing. Sounds strange, but that could help to make your life easier and simpler. Same with unification. So as I said, if you have any chances to unify whatever business processes across different locations, different business units, different lines of businesses, projects, products that will pay you back. So that make absolutely total sense. And from our experience, about half of the project and half of the costs related to any digitalization projects goes to rethinking of those business processes, trying to simplify it and unify it across different locations. Yeah, and here on slide we have some good questions to ask you just as an indicators. Do you need to do anything about that or not? How much time you spend on data unification? How much time you spend when you launch a new product or new project in your company? That's all signals that something is not simple enough and not unified enough. Yeah. And finally, we comes to digitalization, implementation of new system. And definitely, I cannot tell you all the pitfalls in the 5 minutes how to avoid the failure of the system implementation. But I will mention just few of them. In majority of cases when the project fails, we see at the very beginning the wrong expectation from the customer, misalignment of customer and the company which implements in terms of what to expect. In many cases, companies think, we just need a piece of software. That's not the truth. So you have to be ready for company transformation, for transformational process inside of the company, for changing of business processes, changing rules, lines of controls, and all these things. So any digitalization project, if you want it to bring really value for the company, it's not only about software. Software is just the top of the iceberg. Yeah, so and if you went through the whole process, if you unified business processes, if you simplified it, then digitalization can really bring some valuable results. And when you go this way, don't forget again to ask yourself good questions like, what actually is the possibility of new system we can get? Does it make sense to change anything because of possibilities of our system? Can we afford the redesign right now, or shall we postpone? And some others. And probably last but not the least, wrong assumption, let's put it in this way, we see is that company tends to choose solution. And I can say that I would advise you guys to choose partner, not a solution. Because whatever solution you choose, you will need to change it quite soon, believe me. So because life is always changing. The only constant thing we have in life is changes. So you rather need, when you implement something, vendor for you, it's rather a marriage than a date. You will stay with the partner for many, many years. And that's why pay special attention to the partner. All these RFPs, all this standard documentation, it's all about the system selection, technical requirements, functional, non-functional, and all this stuff. And very few words about the partner itself. Do you have a cultural fit? Do they have a relevant experience of implementation? How long they are on the market? Will they stay on the market next 10 years to support you or not? That's extremely important, and I would say that it's even more important than the solution itself. Yeah, and finally, just very few words about A Group. As I said, we deal with probably the largest organizations, largest employers in Baltics and Poland. We help with digitalization of human-centric processes, so you're welcome to ask any questions if you have. We headquartered in Riga in Latvia, have office in Poland, and just recently hired the first employee in Estonia as well. So really pan-Baltic presence. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope we are back on track, so you can go for your lunch. And if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer.
Thank you, Alexander. Do we have a raised hand in the audience at the moment? hard for me to see. If not, we have a question for you. You talked a lot about the right partner and how to find the right partner, which is actually kind of like in real life and in private life, it's more difficult than it may seem. So from your own experience, nowadays everybody is searching for technology and searching for innovation and implementation and finding the right fit. How long should a company be searching for one? You know, sending out requests to companies, and how long should be the time frame?
For me, actually, it's not about the time frame, it's about an approach. You know, this joke that in real life, when you're choosing a partner, your first partner comes from your heart. It's because of love. The second one, because your friends advised you that that will be a good partner for you. And the third one is just because that was available, and that's it. So in the business life, it's a little bit more easier, I would say, because there are a number of companies who can give you a good advice. They position themselves as an independent advisors. They can come to you, check your current situation, what business processes you have, what system implemented, what's the overall strategy of the company, and based on that, advise you on at least narrow down the list of potential vendors for you, potential partners. So it's not a direct answer to your question, but if you think about sizable project in your organization, I would suggest first to talk to those independent advisors, and only after that jump into relationships with one or another vendor.
Thank you, Alexander. If we don't have any more questions, we have a question. May we pass the microphone, please? I see that we are on time, so we have time for one.
Hi. Hi. I wanted to ask, what is your take on hiring external consultants actually to help with the change management? Because the processes might be complicated, and maybe your experience with external consulting.
So could you repeat, please, the first part of your question? What is your
take? What is your experience with external consultants helping to implement systems and change management? Thank you.
You know what? From our experience, I probably mentioned that in presentation, like half of the whole efforts from the both sides of vendors and the company goes for business process reengineering, formalization of business process, simplification, unification, etc. And only after that, it makes real sense to implement one or another IT system. In our real life, what happens is that customer comes to us, IT company, and asks to implement a system. And we have to go to a lengthy discussion about business process and do actually consulting part of the work, which is costly, which is lengthy, etc., etc. I don't think that that is the right setup for IT company. Ideally, that is something for consultancy company, and I personally used to work in one of them in Boston Consulting Group, and I know how it works. So they can really bring a value for you because they accumulate experience from different projects and different vendors. They know pros and cons. When they see you as a company, as a further customer, they can estimate cultural fits, your possibilities, and all this stuff. So, yeah, you can say that definitely choosing a partner, a consulting partner, is another story, which one to choose. But in a good case scenario, I would insist that the right approach would be to go first for consultancy and after that for IT implementation.
Did that answer the question? Yep, thank you. Thank you once again, Alexander.
My pleasure, thank you.
groupie, Stanislav Vodonovsky. Can we have a live feed? Hi. Can you hear us now? Great. We can hear you as well, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, let me do some quick. I hope that I'm. Okay, can you hear me now? Is it everything okay still?
We can hear you still.
Great.
Everything's perfect.
Great. As always, some technical issues are part of the game, right? First of all, thank you for having me here. It is my pleasure to be presenting our story to so many professionals across Baltics. And when I started my career as a trainer over 10 years ago by now, actually, I was representing a global consumer electronics company, and my job was to train our resellers on different products, starting from mobile devices and ending with vacuum cleaners. And actually, most of the times, trainings were attended by different people from different organizations. And at some point, I somehow felt that it's really hard to provide a stable kind of knowledge, level of knowledge among all of the training participants. And it somehow actuated actually my wish to once set up a system and provide trainings in the way that actually knowledge sharing and knowledge acquirement could be managed from the very first day of onboarding till the very last day actually of working in the company. And I'm really proud to say that Euronics Academy together is a learning management system which, together with our valued partner Corsi, we established in the way that I really feel confident and sharing this experience with you. So in the next 20 to 25 minutes, I will provide to you all the details how we are doing it, and I mean what would be the best way to, or a better way actually, to present everything than rather using our own learning management system, Corsi. So I made a quick, let's say, training content for you to share. First of all, I think that many of us have experienced similar situations like on this picture in the last year or so. I guess not all of the trainings are engaging and interactive and interesting from the very first minute till the end. But let me reassure you that actually by doing trainings in a more interactive and interesting way, there is actually a possibility to engage people and make actually passing the trainings interesting and valuable for everyone. So that's what actually all of our trainings management system is all about. Moving forward, I must say that I'm a numbers guy, and I will bring up some statistics for you right here. First of all, we have in place around 45 hours of training content, which is actually delivered to the training participants, to our employees, in the very first 2 months of their time on the job. We have around 40 training videos, which are produced in-house and are made in bite-size training materials, which means that it's easy to gather knowledge from there, and they are really kind of concentrated in the sense of quality and training material. We are providing around 70 fully automatic training occurrences per day across all of Estonia. It means that 70 training occurrences are provided by our system, which is fully automatically, and we don't have to basically engage with them. So the learning is ongoing all the time. We have around 170 training materials in our training system, and all of these training materials are also composed in bite-size format, so it would be engaging and interesting for the participants. Actually, we have produced around 237, if I'm not mistaken, different training materials, but most of them but not most of them, but some of them are outdated, and we are constantly updating training materials. So that's why I'm saying that we have 170 active training materials. And what we also see is that approximately 80% of all trainings are actually passed by our employees in the very first 30 days. And the rest of the employees are following in the next couple of months. Well, yeah, not all of the people are early adopters and taking trainings very, very quickly, but still the statistics are very good in our favor. Well, of course, if we go back to year 2018, to the end of 2018, if you would ask me what we were looking for, then, well, honest answer is that we didn't know exactly what we were looking for, actually. We understood that we cannot continue the same way providing trainings as we did before. We had huge classroom trainings, which were actually covering, I don't know, 10 to 12 different topics per day. And it was, at the time it was a format which was working actually, and it was working very well. But at some point we understood that our employees are not that eager to travel all the time to Tallinn to attend these trainings, and it's not the most effective way, let's say, way to provide trainings. And we understood that training videos is actually the future of learning, at least for us. We understood how we should, or at least we thought that we understood how these training videos should be recorded and what should we do with them. We understood that we need to store them at some place, but we needed a platform basically to store the training videos. Well, YouTube and Vimeo was not an option for us because yes, you can place their videos, you can make them private, you can provide the precise links to all of the participants, but in the end of the day, you cannot measure actually anything there. Basically, you only have the anonymous amount of views, and that's it. You don't have any training statistics behind there. So we understood that actually we need a learning management system. And we understood also that three main pillars are something which we are looking for in the training management system. First of all, it's of course costs, because, well, at least in my experience, training or learning management systems, cost can vary from anything, I don't know, 1,000 or something like that till 20, 30, 40,000 actually euros per even. Okay, maybe not 1,000 per year, but from 10 to 30, 40,000 per year. So it's an important investment for each of the company and for all of the companies, and that's why it was also important for us. Another point was the time zone, because yes, there are a lot of different providers across the ocean, but the negative side of it is that you have a different time zone. They do have some representatives in Europe, etc., but still it would be perfect to have the partner which is in the same exact time zone, and especially good if the partner would speak the same language, because we understood that of course English is not a problem in our company, but on the other hand, if you can explain yourself in your native language, it gives much more efficiency and saves time. And basically, all of these factors were fulfilled with Corsi, and that's why we onboarded with them. So by now we are using them almost over 3 years, actually. And it has been a nice journey. Well, doesn't matter how cool is the training system or the learning management system. One thing which is really important and which I will emphasize, I think, several times in my presentation is content, and the importance of content. And I would even say that content is actually the king. I will show you an example of how things should not be done. So it's a bloopers video from our last year August training, and well, let's take a look at it and you will decide what to think of it.
Samas on hea nippu öelda ka seda, et näiteks Samsungi võrreldes siis sellega jälle 2 kuuga palju rohkem sõpru kui 2 aastaga. See oleks juba tekkis seal igal päeval. Niimoodi saab. Õhtus koju. väga mul on viieni tõve. Oi jumal. No nüüd juba tegelikult toetasin. Palju mul rohkem ei olegi. Koost ei ole veel ka piisavalt seda põhjendusi selle jaoks, et aru saada, et Euronics on parim ostukoht. Jumal jah. Aga tegelikult võib täitsa pulli teha.
So I think the takeaway from here is that you have to have some fun also while doing different training content. But let's move forwards to something more of let's say serious, and then I will present you a couple of content examples which are from our trainings. And first of all, we made a training about Sage espresso machines, coffee machines, and it was also done in a format of an interactive video. Of course, you can see that we are putting a lot of emphasis on the quality of the video so that it would be really nice for the viewer to look at it. We are using subtitles in Estonian and in Russian for all of our videos because, again, statistics show that not all of the people are watching videos with sound on. So subtitles is something definitely to consider and have. We have also made all of our trainings in the way that they would be really engaging and hands-on, so that we are actually prepping the scene. We are using different lightnings. We are using, I don't know, even fresh fruits actually to explain to our employees about juicers, anything. So the more engaging and the more, let's say, practical the video is, the better the result actually is our key takeaway from here. And of course, we are using interactive videos with bookmarks, so it would be really easy to navigate to the place which you are looking for, or to review something which you have already obtained. And as you can see from this video about food processors, we are again using very hands-on methodics to provide the training. Well, if it's not a video training, then we are using also interactive trainings. For example, how to manage stress, and you can pick the neurons and put together pictures. And if the training is about let's say different products, then we are using also bullet points and pictures. And of course, in the end of all trainings are actually quizzes with 4 to 5 questions, which cover most of the most important, let's say, key takeaways from the training. So that's how we are doing it. We are keeping the training materials quite short, as I said, in bite-sized, meaning that participants can take a look at them anytime, basically, throughout the day. As important as content is, there is actually another very important part, and this is strategy. I would say that, to be completely honest, I would say that, let's say, formulating our training strategy and actually onboarding employees took us, I guess, a year, most probably. So my key takeaway again from our case is that never underestimate the importance of onboarding employees actually. So it's a very important part, and not all of them are early adopters who are taking everything very quickly and picking up everything very quickly. So you need to do a lot of explaining and actually explain what are the benefits for the employee as well from using a training management system like that. But if we go to our training strategy, I will talk about our new employee training strategy. As mentioned before, all of the training content is actually divided on 2 months. So basically, by the end of the second month, the employee will pass about 45 hours of training materials, training content, and actually is able to do things on his or her own. Because during the onboarding and during the first 2 months, during the first 3 months, we have tutors in place, which means that a employee who is more experienced is also coaching and guiding the newcomer to get everything right from the very first day, actually. So if a new employee comes, we are assigning them the level 0, basically. It means that for our system, it is a trigger to provide or to make automatic training occurrences on different topics. For example, Products ABC course, which covers different topics about our main product categories. And well, basically, these trainings are answering the question, which humidifier you should use, a ultrasonic or evaporative, for example. And later on, you will get the training about which precise product or brand you should actually offer to the customer. We're providing trainings about our services. We're providing trainings about psychology, because psychology and stress management and motivating yourself is also a very important part of the job. I mean, retail can be quite stressful sometimes, especially during holidays, I guess. And we are providing culture and customer service trainings so that that each of our employees is well aware of how we are servicing the customer and what are the main pillars of our strategy. So the new employee has 1 month actually to pass all of these trainings. Roughly 22, 23 hours of training content is here. The next question is if all employees have if the employee has completed all of the courses. And here, actually, just a side note, I'm using H5P element branching scenarios to explain to you how the strategy works. But if we go back to the strategy, let's say that we are, yes, the employee passed all the courses. Next thing is that the employee is assigned a certification test, which takes place in the end of the first month. And this certification test can be taken twice. And you need to score at least 71% to continue to the next level, basically. So if the certification test is passed and the result is above 71%, that is good. Then we are opening the first level 1 product trainings to the employee, and it's again about 22 to 23 hours of training content, which is more precise training content, the more details about different products, about different brands, and etc. So let's take a look at an employee who has not passed everything from the very first day. So I'll quickly scroll through the beginning. Yes, courses are assigned. And for example, courses are not completed. Something is still missing. So it means that you get a second chance, again 30 days, to pass the trainings. Of course, we are assuming that the employee is passing the trainings a bit quicker this time, not on the very last day, for example, of 30 days. And if all courses are still not completed by now, then we are having a one-to-one talk between the employee and direct manager. Afterwards, we give one last try actually to improve the results. And if the results are not improved, then yeah, there are next steps which to take. However, I must say that we have not so far seen any cases of this kind of misbehavior, let's say, because our tutors are always keeping a very close attention on how the new employees, how it's going with the new employee and how they are performing in terms of Euronics academic courses. So yeah, it's of course a part in the strategy, but we haven't used it very often, I would say. Next is impact on business results. I guess it's a very interesting part. And actually, before I will tell you how we are doing it and what we are measuring, I would really like to hear from you how you are measuring business. How do you measure training impact on business results? And I urge you to take your tablet, phone, your PC, go to menti.com and use the code which is here to provide at least a couple of answers. For example, how do you measure training impact on your business results? So menti.com and the code is 7408891. Because impact is definitely something which all of the stakeholders are also very much interested in, and I guess it's an important topic to talk about. So I hope that you are getting somewhere, because I cannot see you, but I really hope that you are typing your answers there. because I must say that we will pick out exams. Great. So someone is online. Very nice. I will say that we will pick 3 or 4 most interesting answers, and Katrina and Marco, who are representatives, of course, he will also hand over a small prize for you. Very nice. So a lot of goods. Yeah, employee loyalty. That's something very interesting because, to be honest, loyalty and customer loyalty, but I guess employee loyalty is also quite similar, was a subject for my master thesis. So loyalty is definitely something very interesting how to measure. Not measuring, okay, time saved, product knowledge, when we see first results, money, exams. Okay, will there be any more answers? I'll just give you a quick second for here. No. Okay. Well, I will pick actually 3 most interesting, at least for me, I would say, and things which somehow related to me was definitely employee loyalty. So please, the one who wrote down employee loyalty, please go to Marco and Katrina after the presentation to receive your prize. The second one is actually customer feedback. Yes, thank you for that. And also go by Katrina and Marco to receive your prize. Customer feedback is definitely very important, and it's also actually a part of my next year's strategy, which I'm not ready to talk about yet here, but it's also something which we are looking at. And actually, I would also say time saved. These are the most, let's say, 3, how to say, maybe most interesting or most innovative ways to measure, in my opinion. But of course, all of the other responses are also very valuable. And thank you for participating in this short Menti quiz. Let's move forward. How we are measuring impact on business results. We are performing a very simple correlation analysis actually between time invested in obtaining trainings and various performance indicators. And for example, these numbers, which I will show you right now, are from the beginning of this year till basically end of September, the statistics here. And I have divided all of our stores in 3 categories. We're also internally dividing them in big, average, and small shops because, well, shops are, of course, have different foot traffic. They have different customer base. They are located in different stores and et cetera, et cetera. So it's more, let's say, wise to compare them in divided by categories. And the first correlation, which I will share with you, is training hours versus profit. To quickly explain, everything which is actually 0.5 or above 0.5 with a positive sign represents a moderate or a strong correlation, or let's say linearity between these 2 factors, meaning that the more training hours you put in, the better is the profit of big stores. For average and small shops, I would say that it's a moderate correlation between training hours and profit. Next part is training hours versus average sellout price. Again, with big stores, it's a strong correlation, moderate correlation with average shops. And something very interesting, which made me think for quite a long actually, is what is wrong with small shops correlation. It's negative, meaning that the more training hours they get, the lower the average price. And what actually I found out, and what could be actually the reasons, is that smaller shops are usually located in regions, meaning that there is less foot traffic, and perhaps employees have more time to participate in trainings, first of all. And the second of all is that they are very, very eager to participate basically in all of the trainings which are provided across our company, meaning that their training hour indicator is actually much higher compared to other stores per capita, let's say, or per one employee. And because of the fact that smaller shops usually do not have that many domestic appliances for sale, it could be also a result that it's for them very hard actually to bring up the average sellout price. So that could explain actually the negative correlation here, because I'm just completely honest and show you things how they are. And we are also measuring training hours versus turnover. And here I'm glad to say that we are seeing moderate or strong correlation among all of the shops. Moving forward, feedback. And it's also a very important part for us. And we are organizing feedback questionnaires each year among users of our Euronics Academy. We are receiving approximately 50% of response rate. And we're asking actually 3 questions, which I will go through one by one. First question is, let's say, if they are happy to take trainings in Euronics Academy, and if participants are doing it on their own initiative. Year 2019 shows a quite low mark. I guess it's because of the fact that everything new is a bit frightening for people. And of course, that was the period when we had to invest a lot of time and to make a lot of explanation to the people why it's beneficial to you and how you can make good of it. Next year it was much better, and this year we are getting again 7.9 out of 10. So 10 is the maximum, so it's quite good. The second question is that I feel that Euronics has created sufficient conditions for me to study. Again, we see that during the first year and this year we had a high mark. 2020 was the year of pandemic, and I know that a lot of our employees were actually missing face-to-face trainings, so that could be an explanation why this mark dropped a bit in 2020. And the third question is that Euronics Academy gives me the knowledge I need for work. And I'm really happy to see that throughout the years we have scored the highest mark here, meaning that we have made a training system which actually is beneficial to the employees. Of course, we are using also face-to-face trainings. We are having tutor in store. We are doing morning on-spot trainings in store. So we are accompanying our e-learning with different other training approaches. But Euronics Academy, I would say that gives 70% of the knowledge of the trainings actually to our employees. So it's a very, very, very big part of our training strategy. And I'm really happy to see that our users are actually valuing it. So I have a couple of minutes, a couple of more points to show to you, and I guess that there would be time for questions. If to conclude everything I said today is that yes, a properly set up and comprehensive learning management system is definitely a must-have solution for us, because we have a lot of employees across Estonia, and it's really hard actually to train all of them face-to-face. And I would say that for many businesses is also a solution. Next is definitely something which is very important for everyone, is strategy and content. I guess it's the key to success, I would say. Cooperation with partner, again, is critical, because I don't even know how many times I'm calling Corsi with questions, with business questions, which they are actually helping me to resolve. It's not a question about how to use the portal or how to do anything there. It's a question of, well, I have this kind of problem, how we can solve it. Can we solve it through Corsi? And they're thinking together with me, and the cooperation gives a lot of impact on our business. Never underestimate the importance of onboarding employees and take time to do it properly. That's definitely something, if I had to redo everything, I would definitely keep a more close eye on this part. And the last part, measure, implement, measure. Again, it takes time to get it right. So you most probably won't get it right from the very first minute, but you will get it. And if you liked what you saw here or heard, I urge you to contact Corsi representatives Marco and Katrina, who are who are there, and request a demo from them. If you would like to contact me and have a bigger chat about how you're doing things, you can contact me through LinkedIn, no problem. So I'll be happy to answer your questions. So, and yeah, thank you for your attention. I guess we have some minute for a question, and I'm giving the microphone over to you at the stage.
Thank you, Stanislav. We have a question actually. Can we pass the microphone? Just all right. Let me do it myself. Here's a microphone.
Hello, thank you for a presentation. I have a question, actually 3 questions. One, which format you mostly use for training materials? Is it text, video, or photos? Second, how often do you have to update content of trainings? And third, how do you plan when this employee will fill these trainings and tests? Is it scheduled in his schedule, or how is doing in your company? Thank you.
Great questions, thank you. So I'll start with the first one, format. Well, it depends actually on the training. If it's a ABC training, which most probably will last for a year, 2, well, it's a training about something which doesn't change, the content doesn't change that often, then it's definitely a video for us, because we believe in videos a lot. If it's a training for maybe some holiday products or something like that, most probably we will use a combination of interactive training, photo, video, maybe some videos from YouTube, text, so we will mix it basically up. So I would say that it depends on the training topic most of all. The second question, how often should we update it, right? If I'm not mistaken. Well, again, it depends on the training content basically. So it's again a bit answered from the first question, because we are trying to make the content as let's say as future-proof as possible, but it's not possible for everything. If it's a new lineup of Samsung or Sony or LG TVs for the year 2021, you have to basically exchange the training next year. So it's a part of the business. And when people are obtaining trainings, because of the new employee program or the new onboarder program is quite tough in schedule, everything is happening during their scheduled working time. So they are coming to work and they are performing all of the trainings, all of the actions with tutors during their working time, because they have to rest at some point also. We cannot overwhelm them with training content. I hope that these answers provided sufficient answer.
As I saw, there was a thumbs up from the audience, so that means the question is answered. Do we have another question at the moment? I see no raised hands, so I'm going to say thank you, Stanislav, for being able to join in remotely and tell us a bit more about the experience. And to those who might miss Katrina and Marko, please raise your hand. They're on the right corner. Please go to them if you were the ones whose answers were chosen. And if also you want to know more about Corsi or the cooperation that they've had. All right, thank you guys. We're gonna round it up for this part of the event. We'll see you after a lunch break in roughly around 40 minutes. See you soon.